So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broken everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Hey, Disruption Network. This is Mike Sacco, the general manager at Nye Volkswagen of Rome. If you don't know me by name, it's only because you have not received the best deal. There's only one reason to leave Utica, and that's to come see me in Rome and get the best deal on your next new, pre-owned, or certified VW. Mention that you heard this ad from Disruption Network and receive $250 off your next vehicle purchase. You'll know why our customers say, I love my Nye VW. Come see us at 5865 Rome Taberg Road in Rome, or visit us online at nyvwofrome.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar, brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.
Good start. Great start.
We're out to a great start today.
That was great.
My headphones have fallen off. The microphone's not working. Hey, everybody.
That was absolutely the
dear
best thing
God.
I've ever
We were
seen.
prepared.
Yeah. We've only been doing this for 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get it down. I figure by about the turn of the century, we'll get that all good. So, anyways, yeah, I'm Rich Masucci, and you've tuned in once again to 3 and Out.
But you're Jamie on the show right now.
Yeah.
Huh?
You're me.
You're listed as you.
Am
Or
I?
as Jamie. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
my
all
God.
right.
It's
It's a hot mess. We're really going to get this going.
You know what it was? Z is here, and we've been talking this whole time. We're laughing our asses off. And, all aboard the Hot Mess Express.
Exactly. Here we go.
Let's just bring you guys in and see what happens. So, oh, boy. Hey, so, Jamie.
Hi.
What's going on?
Not much. I got to point something out, speaking that this has been a hot mess of 2 minutes. This didn't happen last week when I hosted.
Oh, snap.
Wow.
Yes. I got you Sunday, and now I get you today, too.
Oh, man.
Twice in one shot.
Jamie, I thought we were going to be nice to each other.
That's the only jab I got for you.
Oh, wow.
That's it. huh?
That's all I got.
Thank God that's it.
Yeah, I'll be nice because you guys are always nice enough to let me into the garage, into your home, and I even walked out of there without saying an awful word on Sunday to you.
I know. And after you left, we had quite a few choice words to say about you.
Yes, I could only imagine. Yeah, I could only imagine.
It was all good. We'll talk about that game in just a little bit here. And Erica Moss, what's going on?
What's going on?
No, getting my balls broke today already.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe that Jamie just said that.
It was there.
I was going to be very nice, and I thought that we were very nice on Sunday.
Yes, I agree.
Because I had some, I wanted to throw some things and all kinds of stuff, but I kept my cool.
Yeah.
Till after I left.
Since the minute he's got in here, the gloves came right off.
know.
He's been at us like a tiger or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Vicious tiger.
Yeah. They starved me for so many years that now I get to actually eat. That's what it is.
Yeah. As you know,
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Mr. Ray Nation not with us today.
No.
He's still alive. There's some people that
Yeah.
if he's passed on.
Yeah, if he's okay.
No.
No, he's
still with us.
He's working like crazy.
Yeah, he actually he called me a little while ago, and he was told that he had to do some kind of project. They asked him to stay late at work, and it was one of those things where he wanted to tell him no, but thought that might not be the best idea.
Yeah.
So we're sans Ray today, as they say.
Yeah, which sucks. That's okay though.
Yeah. And that's all right. We'll have a hell of a show. Did you guys know that we only have like 2 more games to the regular season, right?
Oh, it's crazy. Can you believe it?
I can. It's crazy.
Here we go with the balls being broken, huh?
No, but yeah, with the playoffs rolling up on us very quickly, got a ton of stuff to talk about, and I think tonight, just to kind of give you guys a direction where we're going to be talking about like your choices for like the rookie of the year, this year's MVP, and I'm actually going to ask you guys to give me your Super Bowl picks.
Oh boy!
All very quick and believable.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a
That's
hell
right.
of a show. Hell of a show. Let's talk about that Buffalo Pittsburgh game for 1 second.
Okay.
So, Duck,
Ew.
you're not
Yeah.
sold on the Duck, are you?
You know, the problem I had with Duck, and this is what we talked about Sunday, is I want to say it was one of his early passes, maybe early second quarter, where he completed a pretty decent one, maybe 20 some odd yards to James Washington. And my only response was, holy crap, I think he throws slower than Mason Rudolph.
Right.
And, you know, we're joking about it. I went, no, I'm serious. I think he let that one go last Sunday, and it finally arrived today. You know, I mean, like, really, he's just got no arm strength there. And
He threw that up in the Cleveland game.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's done it. He's done it a couple times this year, and it's worked in the past. And then it got massively exploited on Sunday night. Just floating him up there to a secondary that good is not going to work for you. So, yeah, hopefully he learns and recovers, especially with the Jets this week. I mean, you got to go with it. He's done fine up until that point, but a lot of the issues, I guess you can say, with having an undrafted quarterback showed up on Sunday.
Sure.
But let's see how he rebounds, man. Like, he's got a little swagger to him. He's got that, you know, look about him that he's not overwhelmed in any way, shape, or form. But that's a tough task. Buffalo's defense is just grossly nasty lately.
Listen, though, we all have to remember, as a Steelers fan, too, I'm going to say this. Nobody's going to be Ben Roethlisberger on the field. The guy is still a rookie, undrafted. He's only played, this was his fourth game. Let's just see how it goes. I think I said this to you last night or right after the game. I said, you know, he's the type of guy that I think would be a great backup quarterback for the Steelers. Absolutely great. He's got the, you know, they love him. Duck, they love him. They got freaking rubber ducks floating in the river.
Yeah.
So he brings a lot of, you know, positive energy to the team, and he'd be great as a backup, almost like a Charlie Batch situation. And I think it would do a lot of good if he was able to sit behind Ben Roethlisberger for a year and watch him, because Mason Rudolph did that, and he still is not playing good. Duck hasn't. He just got thrown into the mix. So,
well, you know, the other good thing about this too is
I love that we still call him Duck, and everybody calls him Duck, and it's not even his real name.
He calls
calls
himself.
No, it's crazy.
But what I was going to say is Buffalo has probably one of the best defense
absolutely.
that I've seen in the NFL lately.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was able to hang with that defense for as long as he did. You know, there was some turnovers in there that I was like, but let's be honest. I mean, if that's what the Steelers can carry into the playoffs if they do make it, hey man, I'll take that as a fan. I'll take that because
Sure.
At least we know
what
they
did,
can stand with him.
yeah, after
play
losing what they did this
yeah.
year, that was a sinking ship very fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Buffalo, because I got to be honest, man, that is a scary, scary team.
It's frightening. It's absolutely frightening. It seems that, despite the unit for the most part returning from last year, all 10 of the 11 starters are all back from last year. The only exception is Ed Oliver, who replaced Kyle Williams, who retired. So, I mean, there's no having him back at that point. He's done.
Your boy Tre'Davious White, man.
Jesus.
Sick.
If he's not, he's got to be damn near the top of the cornerback list,
would
without a
absolutely
doubt.
agree.
And I think he's been unknown for the prior 2 years because he played in Buffalo. But he's been doing this since he came up from LSU, since they drafted him. And that was the infamous, Buffalo trading back where KC got Mahomes. They got Tre'Davious White out of that, and then spun the 2 picks into Tremaine Edmonds and Josh Allen the following year. I can't argue with that. Really, sure, it's Pat Mahomes, and everybody's like, "Oh, you got to feel bad about that." No, there's no guarantee he's going to succeed there. But Tre'Davious White quietly leads the NFL, or tied, I should say, in interceptions. Nobody knew that coming into this game. He's pretty much every week shadowing the number 1 receiver, and he has shut down everybody. Nobody's done anything against him. So that makes life very easy in the secondary, especially if you're over the top. Which the safeties are no slouches either. You got Hyde and Poyer.
Yeah,
I mean, really, that defense is just gross. And I think the disservice I talked to my brother calmly. I was very nice about it too. He's a Steeler fan
Yeah,
as
we
well.
know.
So I was talking to my brother at work today, and we wanted to just kind of break down the game. One thing we said is if you're going to beat either team, because those were probably two of the best defenses in the NFL right now, Pittsburgh and Buffalo.
Sure.
What you don't do is throw, at least consistently. And Pittsburgh failed to get that message, apparently.
Especially in the second half.
James Conner
I
actually
know he was
looked.
playing so great.
Yeah, he looked to actually have some. He came back on fire. I mean,
The second half. Yep.
every single carry he had, he got up screaming. He was ready. He was ready to play, and he actually was productive. Why the hell did they stop?
They just abandoned it. I don't understand it.
15,
They said, "That's
15
working.
carries. 15 carries.
That's working. Let's go with something else.
Let's do anything different. and that's what they did. And that was the biggest mistake that you could have. Sure, it's a great line in Pittsburgh, but the pass rush for the Bills has really come into its own. Another quiet guy. You got Jordan Phillips, who's got the same amount of, he's second in sacks behind Aaron Donald for defensive tackles.
Yeah.
There's a quiet one right there out of nowhere. Shaq Lawson has played himself into a ridiculous contract after 3 years of nothing. So it's a nasty pass rush, and it's not even overall on a blitz. The defense is gross. It's really it. And the team that ran the ball and ran it effectively, and most of it, won the game that night. And that's really what it came down to, at least from what I saw, you know?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. They play New England this week.
Yep.
And I like their chances. I do.
I
don't want to jinx them. I'm going to knock on wood or whatever this is for Micah, whatever that is. But I'm going to knock on
Micah.
I do. I like their chances this week, and I actually like their chances going forward in the playoffs too.
I actually see. I do too, and I got laughed at today. Because they're like, "Oh, you're getting excited for nothing." I'm like, first off, you obviously haven't spoken to me all season because I've called this from day one, from preseason on, that this was a team that nobody expected to do well except me. So, ha to all of you. And, watching it, how they've been playing the last 4 weeks, that's like the big one. Really, it's after that sad loss to Cleveland. That was the one where something just kind of flipped. And they started just shutting teams down and brutally doing so. Yep. Pittsburgh might have had the most yards against them in that 4 or 5 game span. And, really, it wasn't that much, you know.
Probably what they needed was that loss against Cleveland to get their
get their mojo.
Yeah.
Get their head out of the ass. It's not going to be easy or something like that. And it's been nice, but this week I do have a little bit more faith in them because they already really locked down New England when they were early in the season when they weren't totally gelling, and now they are. Yep. So I think that's a little scarier. Even in the playoffs, their matchups could be something that I think favors Buffalo, which is possibly going to be either Tennessee, a team they beat, or Houston, a team that I think they're better than anyway. So it's I like their matchups, and they have spoiler written all over them for a few other teams as well.
I agree. Hey, so listen, we have to start talking about some of our picks here. That was going to be the whole purpose of the show, and then we got spun out into something else.
We're off.
I know.
on
But,
the topic.
Let's get over that.
But
Yeah.
listen, so I think we're going to start off with going for the rookie of the year, the offensive rookie of the year, and then we'll do defensive too. But there's some names going around. I know that's maybe not so much as years past, but Moss, you want to go first?
When it comes to offensive rookie of the year, yes, this is definitely a year that there are no big time players that have come out and done crazy wild things like Patrick Mahomes did last year. But I'm probably going to pick somebody. I don't think he'll win just because I just don't think he'll win. But I personally have really favored towards the season. And that's our boy Gardner Minshew, the second or third or whatever they want to call him. Minshew. Because I got to tell you, he sparked that team up for quite some time. I know he had some issues in the middle of the season, and then they pulled him and put Foles back in. But they obviously saw something out of him. And I think if they had just kept with him from the get-go, it probably would have been a little bit more productive. I mean, he's got a 91.2 passer rating. 2,795 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. The big thing about it is in the last 3 games, he's only had 1 interception and 0 fumbles. So he's really come alive. That team has more issues than just their quarterback. So if I'm looking at it overall, that's my pick.
Yeah. And, the other thing about that, kind of going along with it, obviously, when you're looking at his stats, you're only seeing part of a year. I mean, he didn't play.
No, he didn't play
year,
all year.
So, but I think he might be their quarterback going forward.
Oh, he definitely should be their quarterback, and they should stick with him. But I I don't know. I just like him. I don't know what it is about him, but I like him.
You like his name. You like that he wears his jockstrap.
Jockstrap.
Yeah.
He's got something about him, that foo.
That foo.
I like that.
That's for you. That's for you, Mick.
That's foo.
Yeah, that's right. Mick out there, he does like
that's
food.
for you,
Yeah, I
Mick.
love foo.
Yeah. What about you, Jamie? What do you think? Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Going a different route. Now, Fu has at least taken the. I can't help but call him that, by the way. He's kind of taken the world by storm because he's a little eccentric, and I there's something about him that's likable and lovable. But for Offensive Rookie of the Year, the guy that silently had a phenomenal season, and even to the point that I had to look it up myself, it was Josh Jacobs from the Raiders, running back
He was
from the Raiders.
second on my list. Second on my
Which
list.
I can totally understand. I mean, the craziest part about this is that now you want to talk about a dude that's getting a lot of love, not only from his teammates, but even from fans. The dude fractured, not kidding, fractured his shoulder in week 7. He hasn't missed a game.
Wow.
So he's playing through all this pain. It was to the point that Gruden came out the other day and said just to get his pads off, he needed 3 people because he can't raise his arm over his head. Still hasn't missed a step, and they're not shutting him down, which I think is a terrible idea personally, long term. But at the same point, you can't help but love the guy's mentality, that toughness about him.
Right.
Plus, he's put together a 1,000-yard season as a running back. So, and he did it quietly as well. So, my guy's got to be Josh Jacobs, and I didn't even have anybody else written down just because I thought the other candidates would be.
No Kyler, huh?
The problem with Kyler Murray is it's too inconsistent. He's had his moments, but he hasn't done enough. And honestly, it's unfortunately the same with Minshew. He's had some great games, and he's laid some duds. A little bit too inconsistent. Those are the only reason I don't look at those two.
I think that Murray will probably win just because he's like the biggest
Quarterback.
name out there, and that's just probably who they're going to give it to. Going on the Josh Jacobs though, real quick, because he was a second on my list, and I figured I'm just going to go with who comes to my head at the time. What I saw about him that was interesting, he's averaging 3 yards a carry after contact, and that is more than both Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara this year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's tough to bring down. Yeah, there's a toughness about him.
I could totally see that. I'm with that too, but Fu Manchu.
I'll go with the Foo.
You go with the Fu?
Foo.
Yeah, just because I'm on board with it too. I like Foo.
I do. Yeah, we do.
We all like
Fu
Foo.
Manchu.
Never going to stop saying that name. It's to Gardner Minshew, if you ever hear this, you're Foo from now on. It's never going to end.
Do you like Foo? I like Foo.
It's over.
Good stuff. What about your Defensive Rookie of the Year?
I don't think this sucks for one reason, because there is somebody that I know you guys really like that I actually have written down here.
I think there's only one choice in this.
There is only one. It's got to be Nick Bosa.
Oh, absolutely.
The downfall of that. I won't say the second name just in case Moss wants to talk about him. Is that if you really go stat to stat between the two, and they do play different positions, Bosa's got the flashier stats because of the sacks, and everybody sees that. Whereas the other guy that will name nameless for now at least is actually among the tops in the leagues at that position for pretty much all categories. And it's kind of one of those things that he's playing to a level that's up there with the league norm, I guess you can say. Whereas Bosa's doing it to such a level, and just if you watch him, you can see that there's a motor there that's better than his brothers. And I mean, it's up there with guys like Watt, to be honest with you. He's dynamic when it comes to getting off the line, and it's scary to watch because he's only going to become better and grow into that. So
Yeah.
I think it's got to be Nick Bosa.
Ray Party's checking in. He said Devin Bush.
Well, I think that's who
Yeah,
Jamie
that's
thought
the
I was
one
going to say.
That's the one I was alluding to.
As much as I'd love to, obviously go with the Steeler, I don't think anybody can compare to Nick Bosa this year. I really, really don't. If he doesn't, there's no way. 9 sacks this year. 9 sacks as a rookie. He has been a huge part of that defense, and I don't see anybody else being able to do that, because the Steelers, it's kind of an overall thing. There's a lot of other players that have I'm not saying Bush hasn't done a lot for the Steelers. He definitely has, but it's Bosa's definitely my pick.
Yeah.
And Ray was right. I mean, it is obviously Devin Bush that I was referring to, but he is up there for what most interior linebackers do as far as league wide. And Moss is absolutely 100% right. He almost gets overlooked because of that, because he's got guys like T.J. Watt and he's got guys like Bud Dupree on, which are more rushing linebackers. I get, but that makes his life easier. As far as that goes, to have that second level be guys of that caliber.
Oh yeah, and he's definitely filling that vacant spot there that Ryan Shazier left
Absolutely.
a couple years ago.
Yeah.
When right about that time, the entire Steelers defense just kind of
Yep, they went
bottomed
poopy.
right out.
Now they're back.
But I think that's that Bosa is he'll probably run away.
Oh,
with
yeah.
it, too. And the other, we have two more we're going to do before we go to break here. The comeback player of the year. They do the comeback player of the year. That was a thing they started I think they only started that a few years ago, right? I don't think they've done that for decades. I don't remember that.
It's been a little while,
Yeah.
but I think it was probably around the time when you first saw somebody that warranted that. Like that was either suspended for a long time or injured for a length of time and
Yeah.
did something with their career after.
Moss, who do you have for your comeback player?
Well, I had a hard time with this because initially when I thought about comeback player of the year, I was like, well, can I use a comeback player that went out this season and came back and has
No.
basically better than he was before he went back?
Yeah.
And that obviously would be Drew Brees. But if I'm going with the player from last year into this year, without a doubt, it's Jimmy G. Because
Are you reading Ray's things?
I can't
He's
see
got
Ray
Jimmy
stuff.
Garoppolo.
Because just
I
as
don't
you
see
said
it.
that,
No, I didn't. I
Oh,
didn't see it either.
no.
just as you said that, his popped up and went Jimmy G.
No, I don't see that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
definitely Jimmy G, because he obviously has been a huge part of that team, and nobody ever thought he was going to be able to play like that, especially after that ACL tear. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 102.8 quarterback rating, which is like the 8th best in the league. So, he might not be the elite quarterback that everybody thinks he is, but he's definitely my comeback player of the year.
Well, it's amazing too. I mean, if you look where that team is, nobody saw that.
No.
Nobody saw that coming at all.
Bill
And anybody
Belichick
out there that, but if anybody out there says, "Oh yeah, they imagined like the 49ers being in a position where I know they dropped to like what 5th place or something like last night, but I mean up until then they were I believe they were first. Right?
They've been at the top for a few weeks.
Yeah. Nobody saw that. Not even Ray Nation, who's not here.
No. Who hates the Niners?
Except for this is the first time he actually picked them to win, and then they
They
lost.
lost.
So no longer pick them if you're a Niners fan.
Yeah. So Jimmy G. All right, and Jamie, who do you have?
The first name was Jimmy G on my list as well, but I went. I scrolled. So for most of these, I do have two, and there's a reason. So I scrolled around, and the reason I went with this one is because he plays an unsung position that nobody thinks of, and it's also somebody that I talked about on the IR last year. It's the center for the Dallas Cowboys. His name is Travis Frederick, who went out, if you remember, last season with Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is pretty much a massively debilitating nervous disorder to where you can barely move, let alone do anything else on top of that. A year later, he's the starting center for an offensive line that I actually think is playing pretty damn well in Dallas, despite the fact that the team hasn't been really up to snuff all year. But he's snapping the ball to a guy in Dak Prescott, who for most of the season led the league in yards, and he's got Ezekiel Elliott that he's blocking for, who's also having a productive season. So if you want to really look at somebody who's coming back from pretty much nothing, take a look at somebody who you wouldn't think of. And that's my guy, at least. But I think Jimmy G's going to win it regardless.
Yeah. How do you say that again? The
Guillain-Barré. Guillain-Barré.
Guillain.
Guillain, yes.
Nice.
Guillain-Barré.
It's like a language lesson in the middle of the show.
Pretty much.
Love it.
How do you pronounce
Guillain-Barré.
this? So, all right. So our comeback player, and then the last one we're going to do before we go to break here is the head coach of the year. And I know a lot of people have been calling for it. I won't say it right off, but Jamie, you go ahead first. Who do you got?
The one I honestly thought right off the bat was Mike Tomlin, and I think that this is pretty much predicated on the fact that they make the playoffs, which I do believe they hang on to the 6th spot. That's the one thing that I'm thinking. So I think if they make the playoffs with the Band-Aid that you can call a roster right now, it's got to be Mike Tomlin, because people were calling for his head in week 3 at that point. So yeah, you got to get rid of him. You got to get rid of him. You got to fire him, which would be the first time in Steeler history that they fired a head coach. So it's probably not happening.
No.
But he's able to make this team competitive despite the fact that he's just Juju Smith-Schuster has been out for a good chunk of weeks. James Conner just came back finally. and you're down to your third quarterback, who was probably on the street before this started.
Probably.
Probably.
And still with all that,
Duck calling before this started.
and they're still a winning team. So
Yeah.
I do have a secondary name, but that was the one that I think he'll win it, and I think he should.
Moss, who do you have?
I agree with Jamie. If the Steelers make the playoffs, I don't know how you don't give it to Mike Tomlin, coming off of the way they started the game, or I should say the way they started the season, and being able to even be in the conversation of the playoffs is crazy. I do have one other name that I want to mention, though, just because I think he should be in the mix too, and that is Sean Payton, because for him to be able to win all those games without Drew Brees and have Teddy Bridgewater behind center is amazing that they did what they did. And I'm going to say is probably they're looking hotter than any team right now. So, yeah, he would be the only other person I would put in the mix. You can maybe even say Mike Vrabel, because what he's doing with Ryan Tannehill. You're like, what the hell? How does this happen?
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll win.
I don't think so either.
But I just have to mention that.
My problem with Vrabel is I think they're not going to make the playoffs.
No, they won't.
So because of that, I think that
Of course they're not gonna make the playoffs.
That's moot. Well, they could still take the division, but I don't see that happening
No.
in any way, shape, or form. So I agree with the Sean Payton thing for exactly that reason. Everybody kind of thought that when Teddy Bridgewater came in, we're going to see a different Saints
Yeah,
team,
that was
and
it.
they stayed more than afloat. I mean, they were dominant for the entire time he was out. The only other name I had, and you can call it a homer if you want, is Sean McDermott. Again, we go back to exactly what we said in the opener, that this is a team that was overlooked to do nothing. I think most of the NFL experts picked them to win between 6 and 7 games.
Yeah,
something
I
like
think you're
that.
right. About 7.
I think I saw one say 8, and that was about it. A couple of them went crazy like me and said that they do great things. But that's basically it. You took a team that everybody on the planet said they didn't have a shot, and they're a 10-4 team that are already locked up for the playoffs. But I think it's more on the fact of what he's done since he's come there, the culture he set. Then pretty much, you're talking about wiping out a losing, I guess, franchise. This is a historically bad franchise, and it's a tough to be a fan of because of that. And he's wiped that out to the point that I think he's going to have a golden statue somewhere outside of Buffalo, just erected probably somewhere in January. Right next to the Buffalo that once you enter the city. But I mean, that's kind of it. And he's taken a roster that I still offensively don't believe is up to snuff yet. They have some pieces that they need to, some little holes that they need to fill and plug there. And if they do, or I should say when they do next year, that's a dangerous team, man.
Yeah.
That's a very dangerous team.
Ray says Shanahan.
I don't agree really too much for that. I understand Ray's point of why he's saying Shanahan. It's because of what the Niners have done. There was enough there, I think, before. It was just more the question mark of the quarterback play. But that's the only thing that I would kind of go against. If he won it, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
So, but that kind of goes up in the wild card area of my Sean McDermott thing too. I think Tomlin's got it. Maybe Peyton.
And I gotta add one more thing here before we go to break. As far as Vrabel, we were talking about Vrabel and said, what he's doing with Tannehill down there. Here's the question: did they really have? Was the problem with Mariota and the team was always there? Because
That's a good question.
Because
How do you? I mean, how can you be doing so well, and then as soon as you take, it's the same team.
it's exactly the same team. They just took away Mariota
So maybe Mariota is
and
the
put
problem.
in Tannehill, who everybody had basically cast off,
Yeah.
and thought he was a nobody. You'd catch him as a backup in some no-name team, whatever, and here he is, and all of a sudden,
Probably use Tannehill in a comeback player position too. I don't know. Tough.
what do you think's going to happen to Mariota?
Oh, he gone.
See you later. Bye.
Oh, he gone.
I mean, I no doubt he's going to be traded, or
Yeah.
do you think you'll see him as a backup role next year?
I don't think you can afford to go from what the role he had in that team to back up and it would be seamless. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Just because by doing so, you've already slapped him in the face by benching him, and now you're playing very well with Tannehill. So to try to re-up him to say, hey, you can still be our backup, that's a hard one to swallow. So
Hang out, just have a seat.
exactly, you just wait for us, and we'll get back to you. I would see something. I mean, he's going somewhere. He is a free agent this coming year, so I would see him In a team, you got to find a team that's got more of a West Coast offense. You can't be an NFL level offense like that, to be honest with you,
Yep.
where we're doing other things like the Mahomes and Breeze of the world are doing. It's got to be something that's a little bit more built for screen passes and run and gun type of style. That's what Mariota is used to. So it's probably why he failed in Tennessee. That's not what they run. So I don't even think there's too many teams out there that are currently doing that. You might see him as a backup in Baltimore. That's a team that's actually built a little bit better for him. But I'm stretching at that one.
Ray says Seattle.
He said that last week too.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I could see it because they run the ball more often than not. But Wilson makes that passing game because he's Superman. So I don't think he's as successful if you try to put him in that same role. But why not? If you're Mariota, you get to sign whoever offers you the contract.
Yeah. We had one other thing. I just realized that this was scheduled for this round, and that is I wanted you to break down the NFC playoff picture. I know we're getting there real quick, but
yeah.
Your 6 teams. And the reason I say this is because I don't know if we've mentioned this earlier in the show. I don't think we did. This is our last show before we kind of put it to bed for the remainder of the year.
Yes.
I mean, nobody's gonna tune in on Christmas Eve or on New Year's Eve, so there's no sense even of rolling out the show. We're gonna pick back up on I believe it would be January 7th.
Yep.
Playoffs will be started by then, so this is kind of like our early prediction.
Yeah.
To see what we got going on here, but give me your 6 teams for the NFC playoffs.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, you can
fire
go.
away.
I still think the Eagles are going to win the East.
Okay.
I'm picking 49ers to win the West. The Packers will win the North. Obviously, the Saints, that's already a given. And then you're going to have Seattle and Minnesota as your wild cards.
Okay. And
So how would that work here?
well, let's see here. I'll ask you this too. What 2 teams do you see going to the conference finals there?
And I'm not sure if the way I just mentioned that this would happen. But I am going to say the Niners and I wonder if it can be Niners in Seattle. I don't know I don't know if how I just mentioned that would actually work out, but yeah, I would love to see that as a NFC Championship game.
Okay. All right.
In those two teams.
Jamie, who do you got for your 6?
We'll breeze through real quick. I actually have Seattle winning the West. I still like them.
Oh God, I forgot about the Saints.
Yeah, Packers, the Saints are definitely Packers are going to win their division. Saints are going to win their division. I'll save the last division winner for a moment. The wild cards, which is unfortunate for the Niners, they're going to win like 12 or 13 games and still be a wild card.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God, Vikings. I said the Rams a few weeks ago. I was wrong. My bad.
Okay.
But it happens.
We were all wrong.
Yeah. So Vikings are going to be the other one. And that comes down to the NFC East, which is just pointless. Honestly, they should just leave that as an extra bye spot because whoever's playing them should handle whoever they get regardless. I think the Cowboys are going to do just enough to hang on to this division.
That's a division, like, who cares?
It kind of. And it really doesn't matter. There's too much inconsistency between both teams that are up there right now. So, based on that, though, I do see Seattle and the Saints getting the first 2 byes, which is good for both of them. And then the rest of the cards are just going to kind of fall where they lie. But if I have an NFC Championship game, I actually do see the Seahawks and the Saints. I'd like the Seahawks and the Saints. Saints are just too hot right now,
Yeah,
and the Seahawks are probably the most complete team on this list outside of the Saints.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I'm changing mine to San Fran and New Orleans.
there you go.
Okay. All right.
That's totally fine.
And then we're going to ask you to play a little Nostradamus here. And who do you see coming out of the NFC representing in the Super Bowl?
New Orleans.
Yeah,
Orleans.
I have an odd feeling about Drew Brees, his career and his trajectory, and
Yeah?
I have an odd feeling about how it's going to end. We'll say,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So that's going to do it for the first round here, the first down. In the second down, I'm going to ask you guys to do the same thing, but with the AFC.
Okay.
So just so you can kind of get prepared. Amos, you have trivia for us this week?
I do.
You do?
Yep.
All right. Let's.
Do I have music?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here. It's.
Okay, here we go with this week's Moss's Mindbender trivia question. So we have no more Thursday night games scheduled for the season, but we do have 3 Saturday games this week. I'm going to focus on the 1 o'clock game between the Houston Texans and the Tampa Bay Bucks. My question is, what Tampa Bay Bucks player holds the record for the all-time career sacks with a total of 77 sacks during his career with the Bucks? Again, what player holds the record for the Tampa Bay Bucks for the most sacks during his career? We're going to find out that answer right after the break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Hey, Disruption Network. This is Mike Sacco, the general manager at Nye Volkswagen of Rome. If you don't know me by name, it's only because you have not received the best deal. There's only one reason to leave Utica, and that's to come see me in Rome and get the best deal on your next new, pre-owned, or certified VW. Mention that you heard this ad from Disruption Network and receive $250 off your next vehicle purchase. You'll know why our customers say, I love my Nye VW. Come see us at 5865 Rome Taberg Road in Rome, or visit us online at nyvwofrome.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar, brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.
Welcome back to the second down of 3 and Out, brought to you by Disruption Network and MyGarageBar.com. Before the break, I hit you with my Moss's Mindbender. That question was, what Tampa Bay Bucks player holds the record for the all-time career sacks with a total of 77 sacks during his career with the team? The answer is Warren Sapp. Yeah, that's right. Sapp played with the Bucks from 95 to 2003. At the time of his retirement from the NFL in 2008, Sapp was one of only 12 defensive players in NFL history to make the Pro Bowl, Defensive Player of the Year, and win a Super Bowl title. So there you have it, folks. This week's Moss's Mindbender.
Warren Sapp.
Right. He actually had 96 and a half sacks through his entire career with the NFL.
Did he really? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's pretty impressive. I said Derek Brooks.
You did.
I did.
It's not a bad pick.
I
He had a lot of sacks. He had a lot of tackles.
Yeah,
he had a lot of tackles. I think he led tackles.
So there you go. But look at that, Ray. He got it.
Did he get it?
He did get it.
Wow.
That guy.
Stump him.
You guys are just all too smart for your own britches. Too smart. So let's see here. We got to get right back into this because I didn't realize we took so much time on that first thing.
But yeah,
That's
too
okay.
much.
We've had a fun show, though.
Yeah,
I've had a
it's
fun
fun.
show. Yeah.
You guys are good company.
Yeah. So what are we doing in this one? We're going with our offensive player of the year, not the offensive rookie. Let's make that little thing there. This is the offensive player of the year.
Yes.
Jamie, I'm going to have you go first.
This sucks a little bit because I think the offensive player of the year and the MVP are almost going to be the same people.
Probably.
Which I really hate that. All right. And the reason I think it sucks is because I think it's going to be Lamar Jackson. I don't agree with it. That's why I think it sucks. And there's a reason I don't agree with it. So they'll have those people stop before they lose their mind. Michael Thomas is about to shatter a record held by Marvin Harrison for receptions in a season, and that was with 5 games of Teddy Bridgewater throwing him the ball.
Oh.
So let's not forget that. He's at 133 with 2 games left, and the record is 143. So he's really, I think he's got this. Let's just fire that one out there. Additionally, last night's game proved 2 things to me. One, quarterback rating is the stupidest stat I've ever seen. Drew Brees was 29 of 30 yesterday for over 300 yards and no turnovers.
Silly. That's a silly stat. Absolutely.
Not a perfect QB rating.
Yeah.
Okay, let's fire that out there. How the hell was that not perfect? He missed one pass,
No,
guys.
stupid.
One. Okay, I hate QBR. We're just firing that out there. But even going to Michael Thomas, he was 12 of 12 yesterday, 12 catches on 12 targets. And he had one of the sickest catches. Like literally, the Colts figured we're triple teaming this guy, and I'm not kidding. Go back and watch this catch. It was very early in the game, second quarter, I believe, where they actually had 3 people on him, and he comes down with it one-handed. If that's not enough to be the offensive player of the year, I honestly don't know what is. I would love to see Michael Thomas be it, but sorry to say it's probably going to be Lamar Jackson because everybody's got to bug up their ass about him for some reason or other. So,
I thought it would be Lamar Jackson.
yeah. I still think it's going to be Lamar Jackson. Who wins it, but I think Michael Thomas more than deserves it.
I am going to do a little bit of Jamie too. I'm not going to go with the obvious of Lamar Jackson. I'm going to pick a player that I know isn't going to win the award, but I just have to mention has been outstanding this year, and that is Christian McCaffrey. That guy is on a team that there is nobody else on the team.
Right.
And he had, 1,307 rushing yards and 814 receiving yards. On a team that can't do anything.
I can't even help myself. I'm sorry.
What?
I
Why are you
apologize.
laughing?
Because that's like video game
Yeah, I was
numbers,
gonna
right?
say,
I can't help but can't help but laugh at that. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody.
And then 14 rushing touchdowns and 4 receiving touchdowns. I mean, you got to give the guy a little bit of credit, especially being on the team that he is on right now with no quarterback.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know he's not going to win the award, but I do have to mention that I think he should be definitely mentioned as Offensive Player of the Year.
Those are like when you figured out the video game, the 95.
The one play. There's that 95
play.
Madden you could screen pass all day.
Yeah.
You throw a screen, you got touchdowns everywhere.
He has more receiving yards than like pretty much every receiver that is in the NFL right now.
God, that's
Yeah, you just
that's
dominate.
Not, yeah, that's not fair.
Oh, let's see here. Oh, okay.
But I do like the Michael Thomas thing. I think
Yes.
that's definitely a good pick too.
Look, I'm loving the McCaffrey thing. They are the Carolina McCaffreys. That's really
very,
what the hell
very,
they are.
very true.
Yeah,
They ceased to be the Panthers a while ago, but they're still the McCaffreys, and those numbers are just not fair. I got nothing. My big thing with Michael Thomas is he's going to break a record and
Sure.
probably not even be mentioned. So there's his mention.
You know, I'm gonna be very, very sad that they're beating on McCaffrey. They're beating him up.
Oh, his career is short.
It's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be like
It's
2 more
super
Took
years.
like
short,
5
yeah.
years off just from this season.
I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
He is electric. He
Absolutely.
really is. But
Can you imagine if there was like a full offense around him?
But by the
Well, his yards would be way worse.
Oh, his stats wouldn't be as good, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think he would get he'd probably have like 500 touchdowns.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
but you think by the time he's up to renew his contract, it's going to be like, I don't know. You've got as much mileage as somebody who's been running in this league for like 15 years.
Yeah. We could
So-
just re-sign Emmitt Smith at this point and be just as effective. Yeah.
He's going to have all those stats. He's never going to be on a winning team. That sucks.
That's just not fair.
Let's go to defensive player of the year. Defensive player, not rookie, but the defensive player of the year.
Overall defensive player. Do I get to go first?
Yes,
Yeah.
Melissa.
Well, this is a no-brainer for me, an absolute no-brainer, and I'm going to homer it, and that is TJ Watt. Absolutely. TJ Watt, 13 sacks.
Guy's on a tear. Watching him the other night, holy mackerel.
Excellent.
It doesn't even
excellent
matter if he
forced
touches
fumble.
the player. He is in the mix for every defensive player for the Steelers,
Yeah.
without a doubt. There he is. There he is again.
Disrupting every play.
And I love the kick. He's always got to do the kick. And I'm just waiting for him to like pull a hammy away. He kicked up one time, and I'm like, no, what are you doing? So,
He had
yes,
a
I love him.
beautiful strip from behind on Devin Singletary. That's not easy to do on a running back that's got you by a step.
And we won't mention what you said at the time that happened.
I
game.
you could say it. Actually, absolutely, you could say it. I'm more than proud to say to acknowledge good plays. That was a great play. I was more or less upset with Devin Singletary fumbling at that point, but TJ Watt's great.
Who was it? I mean, he tried to punch the ball out and he ended up punching him.
Punch him in the chest.
Was that Allen he got?
Man, no, it wasn't. No, it was Allen. It was Josh Allen on a scramble, and he comes through and he punches and hits him right in the chest, which I thought was funny. Actually,
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Of course, he didn't drop him.
The one on
At least he tried. He
the
was
one on
trying.
Singletary, I think, is when I went, that dude should be defensive player of the year because that's not an easy play for anybody to make, let alone a guy who's trailing, at that point. So,
Who do you have?
damn it, Stephon Gilmore just
Oh my
returned.
gosh, he just said it.
Stephon Gilmore just returned his second pick six of the season, and everybody and their mother is all over this guy to be the defensive player of the year.
No.
I don't see it. I really don't. But I'm kind of going a little bit more with the whole everybody's kind of on board with this. So I'm just kind of saying what the mass media is saying. In a perfect world, in a just and wonderful world, TJ Watt would win this award hands down.
Right.
And then I would personally say the tie for 2, which would be, we'll say Gilmore, just because he's had some good stats. He leads the NFL in interception, but he's tied with friggin' Tre'Davious White, who's not even mentioned in this category.
Right behind
That's
Mika
a
Fitzpatrick.
shame.
He's right behind him as Mika Fitzpatrick.
And Mika Fitzpatrick is right there. Another guy not named in this conversation. Which I would say all of them have a great chance, but I think TJ Watt is probably the most dynamic of them all.
Yay.
Stephon Gilmore's probably winning it, though. So sorry, because the Patriots have to win something.
Because they love the Patriots and they just want them to win.
Well, they're not winning the Super Bowl, so they got to give them something.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, let's go with the league MVP. This is the big one.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And Moss. Actually, you said earlier it's probably going to be the same person, the offensive player of the year, and apparently not, because that's not going to happen with you guys' picks. So,
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to go with the obvious just because
Yeah.
it's going to happen. And I mean, I know Jamie can't stand him and doesn't think he's all that great, but I don't know how you can overlook him for MVP. It's going to happen. He's broke all kinds of record. He's leading the NFL with touchdown passes, 33 touchdown passes. He's the first quarterback 22 years or younger to throw for over 30 touchdowns in a season. So I just think because of how dynamic he's been this year, they're going to just give him that trophy without a doubt. I just hope he doesn't win both. I don't want him to win both. I don't think he should win both those awards.
Jamie.
Lamar Jackson's winning this award.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why. I really don't know why I have like such a stick up my ass for him. He's done nothing to me personally at all.
has.
And really the only actual fuel I have for the guy is the Ravens beat the Bills last week.
And
he didn't play well. So I don't know why. There's something about it that I'm just kind of like I'm waiting for that other shoe to fall. I guess like I see this almost as a figment of a season, like not this isn't the real person, and so I'm waiting for it to
You're
happen.
waiting for something to happen. You know what's going to happen is last week of the season, our defensive player of the year will sack our MVP 5 times in the game.
Probably not, because he's not going to play.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's not stepping on the field. You're crazy if you think that's going to happen. You got to wait for the playoffs
Come
to
on.
happen.
Yeah. There's no chance, 0% that he's going to play that game.
No, you don't risk the injury. Maybe he gets a quarter in. We'll treat it like a 4th preseason game, and that's about it. But honestly, he should be the MVP. I won't. I won't lie about that. The guy is dynamic enough, both with his legs, and he's shutting up a lot of people who don't trust his arm. He's actually shown some pretty decent touch, especially on deep balls. That's and that's really what they needed out of him. It's a shame because Russell Wilson was at the time throughout most of the season was great, but he's kind of struggled a little bit for his standards over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and that's kind of I think put him down to second best. But you never know with the next 2 games. Russell Wilson could catapult him again, depending on what happens, especially if they're benching Lamar Jackson, and we'll say in the last week, and the Seahawks have something to play for.
It's funny how things work, because I think back last year around this time, and all we were talking about was Gurley.
Yeah,
and Mahomes, and
who's got it?
Oh yeah, it was like it's one or the other, and now here we are a year later, and not even in the conversation.
No.
Like, nowhere to be seen.
Mahomes would have been in the conversation had it not been for injury, because he's still having a hell of a season.
Yeah,
but it's he missed too much. That's it.
Same with Breeze. Breeze would totally be in that conversation too, but he missed too much.
Gurley, not so much.
No, Gurley's not in any conversation for anybody for anything.
No, he's just not having a season.
Horrible year by the Rams in general.
Yeah, pretty much.
So again, I told you guys we were going to break down that AFC picture real quick.
Yes.
And so let's do the same thing. Give me your 6 teams that you think are going to be making it into the playoffs, and then we'll go forward from there. So. Who started last time?
I did.
Okay, so Jamie, you go first on this one. 6 teams, sir.
So the easiest are the locks. Patriots and Bills are already in. Chiefs and Ravens are already in. So those are the 4 right now that are guaranteed. Then it gets kind of hazy. The Texans and Titans are kind of fighting. I think the Texans take that division. So that's it. Titans, with all due respect to Ryan Tannehill, are not as good of a team as the Texans. So that's really what it comes down to, and they do play each other again. Lastly, the final wild card. I've already kind of alluded to it. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I think, are going to hold it off. A lot of it, I think, is going to be decided this week. By the way, the Steelers get the Jets this week, and I believe the Titans. Excuse me.
New Orleans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was right. Thank you. Titans do get New Orleans this week. That's not good for. So, I think this gets wrapped up, and then Week 17 is a happy little bye week for a lot of our squads in the AFC. As far as who's coming out of there, I do like the Ravens to make it out of there. I would love to say that my spoiler pick would actually hang on that long, but I don't know if they will. It's okay. I could try, but I think you guys would think I'm absolutely insane to say the Bills. But I think it would be the Chiefs and Ravens.
Okay, all right.
That's the one I'm going with. I have a hankering for the Bills to beat one of those, though. I'm just throwing that out there now.
They make a sneaky play.
They make a sneaky play to beat somebody you don't expect them to. They make it farther. I will say at least they're making it farther than everybody's expecting them to.
Yep.
I will say that much.
Moss, who do you got?
I have the exact same 6 teams. I think the Titans, unfortunately, fortunately for the Steelers fans, their last 2 games, they're not going to win those. So, I definitely have the Steelers in there. Honestly, my 2 teams, ready for it, Jamie?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no. I'm curious.
If you say the Steelers, you're just homer.
No, I'm not. As much as I'd love to, and I'm still going to root for it every moment, but I'm going to say Baltimore and Buffalo.
Wow.
Yeah. See, you know what's funny? That was actually the 2 I was going to say.
Really?
I have a weird feeling that it's just not quite there because they're still too young.
Yeah.
But I unfortunately do think Baltimore's going to. I don't know how you don't pick Baltimore to win that. Until they show that they can't win a game, you have to go with them.
Okay.
And it kills me to say that.
So Baltimore, you have coming out of the AFC.
Yep.
Jamie?
I do have Baltimore coming out as well. It's one of those things that is as sad and crazy as it sounds. If it is Baltimore and Buffalo, Buffalo's a bigger matchup problem for Baltimore than the Chiefs are. I don't think the Chiefs can slow down defensively anything that the Ravens do. Buffalo's already proven that they can do that. Yep. So that's where it kind of comes from. And really, when it comes down to it, the Baltimore offense is still more than dynamic enough to keep up with the Chiefs for anything that they throw at them. So I think Baltimore comes out of that. So I'm thinking Baltimore and New Orleans as far as.
There could still be some adjustment for a 3rd and 4th seed. So you don't know who Baltimore and Buffalo and Pittsburgh might play. Because I think if Pittsburgh gets to play Houston, they can beat Houston.
I agree with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's certain teams that I've looked at. I'm like, there's matchup problems all over, and that's on both sides, on both AFC and NFC, which is kind of nice because for all whoever the hell they are, we're all 12 teams. Good luck picking them because sure you have the obvious one. You're like, oh, Baltimore's definitely winning this game. There's 2 teams that I see on here that are massive matchup problems that I'm picking to make the playoffs, and that's fun for me. So you can't say the number 1 seed is going to win.
No.
2 wild card teams, I would say.
Yeah.
The 2 wild card.
The 2 best defenses.
The 2 wild card teams are the 2 biggest matchup problems for the Baltimore Ravens. Yep.
Say the same thing. And I would say Buffalo, because obviously, like you just said, they can run with them.
Yep.
And Pittsburgh. Because
can
they
do
know
this.
them. They know them so well.
And similar type of defensive style. Yep. But even that, you look at like the Patriots, I think it's a bad matchup for Buffalo. If they get the Patriots, I don't think they match up very well with them. So, the Chiefs are another one that I think don't match up with the Patriots either.
There's still a chance that the Bills get the division.
Yeah, that's true. So I need some favors. But
how would that be? I mean, it's New England.
I mean, they play each other, then they would be tied, and then they got one more game.
It's got the one game.
So,
but I mean, New England has owned that division for so long. It would
still a
be
chance.
great.
Yep.
It would be great to see it. Is that me being too biased? Like,
No.
that'd be too great.
No, it's totally fine. I'm thinking, and I'm just trying to restrain myself at this point.
we'll let you have it.
So let's see. You got Baltimore and New Orleans going to
Yes.
the.
Yes.
We both agree on that, right?
You both do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, we're going to find
You
out.
heard it here, folks.
We're going to find out who you think wins the Super Bowl in the third down when we come back from our break. Right now, do you have a little IR action for us?
I do.
All right. Wait. Oh, we've got music for this. Hold on one second.
Very nice. I like that. That's some good production there by Todd Williams.
Yeah.
For us. I like that. So for this week's IR, I kind of already alluded to the person I'm talking about in Josh Jacobs and his fractured shoulder. So the problem with this is the shoulder itself, and the Raiders are being a little bit tight-lipped on exactly the location of this fracture. The shoulder itself is a massively complex joint, so this could be a number of places. I'm going to go with what I believe the most obvious for what a guy like Josh Jacobs would actually have, which is called the acromion process of your shoulder. It's actually part of your scapula, better known as your shoulder blade on the back, and wraps around the top of your shoulder. So if you feel to the top of your shoulder, you're going to find a point right about there. That is your acromion process. Now, why this is a problem, I love how these two are actually checking it too, by the way. So why this is a problem, especially for a running back, you lower your shoulder, the shoulder pad gets driven into that acromion process, and you fracture that. So that break is going to be there pretty much as long as you don't let it rest. Now, I said Josh Jacobs did this in week 7, for crap's sakes. It's week 16, and he's still playing. So the more he does it, the less shot he has to heal this. Any fracture, period, anytime you break a bone, it takes a minimum of 6 weeks to totally heal. Yeah, 6 weeks for it to completely heal and be refused bone, and then just to maintain and get back some of that stability and everything to that bone so it doesn't keep re-breaking is another 4 to 6 weeks. So it's usually about 3 months before a bone is totally re-healed and then remodeled back to normal strength for this. So what Josh Jacobs has essentially done for all these weeks, damn near 10 of them, is lower his shoulder into oncoming linebackers and continuously refracture that without making a sound. So hats off to you, Josh Jacobs. You deserve the offseason rest that you're about to get, and we hope that you have a long and wonderful career just based on that little story. So to Josh Jacobs, man, can't wait to see you run healthy next year. For 3 and Out and the Disruption Network, my name is Jamie, and this has been this week's IR.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broken everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Hey, Disruption Network. This is Mike Sacco, the general manager at Nye Volkswagen of Rome. If you don't know me by name, it's only because you have not received the best deal. There's only one reason to leave Utica, and that's to come see me in Rome and get the best deal on your next new, pre-owned, or certified VW. Mention that you heard this ad from Disruption Network and receive $250 off your next vehicle purchase. You'll know why our customers say, I love my Nye VW. Come see us at 5865 Rome Taberg Road in Rome, or visit us online at nyvwofrome.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar, brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.
I'm so ready to do our house money. I was like, yeah, house money's up. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, you know what? Ray's not here. No house money this
Yeah, we're
week.
not giving you our picks.
You don't want our pick. That's for damn sure.
Don't bet that. If you want to lose money, we'll give you your pick.
Send you right to the cleaner. Good God.
It's really weird not to hear the music, by the way.
I was ready to jam out.
I usually sit here because you don't have the cameras on us, but
Right.
when we're going to Ray, and I know we got the screen back there, but you usually see me and Moss is kind
Yeah,
of
we're doing like a little thing.
Yeah, you got
Go back and
we get the
forth.
head bob going and everything. We're kind of because we know we're not on camera and
Yeah.
we can't dance. Trust me on that.
Speak for yourself, Jamie.
So listen, like I mentioned earlier, this is our last show before we take our little 2-week holiday here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I wanted to do something fun with you guys in the spirit of Christmas and Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, by the way.
Yes.
Well, not till
Not
Sunday.
yet.
Yep.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Oh, when is Hanukkah?
Sunday night is the
Sunday.
first night.
Sunday. Oh, well, we're getting there.
Yeah.
So happy soon to be Hanukkah.
Thanks.
But So I wanted to play what you want for the holidays, what you want to ask Santa Claus for to deliver to your team. So I'm going to give you guys both 2 minutes to officially give me your letter to Santa, so as we'll call
Letter to Santa.
asking for Santa to deliver something to your team. And who wants to go first?
I don't care.
Okay. Well, Mom and Dad, I've never written a letter to Santa in my entire life, coming in a Jewish family. But here's my time, Santa. Here you go. I have 2 minutes. Okay. Please, 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 will you have Randy Fichtner fired and give us a new offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers? That's number one, because the play calling is terrible, and we need something new. We need something new and fresh. The main present, my big present of the year, has to be, please make sure that my boy Ben Roethlisberger is going to be healthy enough to come back and play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we can have Duck sit behind him for a year and then draft somebody else so that he can be the starter, and everything will be good. Everything will be perfect.
Are you looking to re-gift Mason Rudolph?
I think so, man.
I'm sorry, Mason. I just don't.
Rudolph
I mean, if you want to if you just want to hang out on the team, I guess. But I just please, Ben, get yourself back into shape, because you're not looking like you're too much in shape on the sideline there. And that beard, that crazy, crazy beard that he has not shaved since he got injured. That's what he said. He has not shaved his beard since he got injured. That needs to be shaved. And you need to get yourself back into shape.
Listen, he said he's not going to shave that until he can throw the ball again.
That's right.
So by the time that happens, I mean, he's going to have like birds and all kinds of things living in that
He
thing.
looks like Brett Kiesel now.
Yeah, he does. That's going to be
hilarious.
That's going to be crazy. And I agree with that.
But thank you, Santa. Please, please, please.
Their offensive, their play calls just dreadful.
It's
Absolutely
atrocious.
Dreadful.
Atrocious.
Obviously we've seen that.
Well, we talked about it, man. 15 carries, 8 to James Conner. That's all I'm saying. That's
Horrible.
Bad. That's just bad job.
And I would personally like a couple jerseys myself, but I don't know if that's going to be in the mix there too. But
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
need some new jerseys.
yeah, we'll have to work on that one. Jamie, this is your
My
opportunity
2 minutes.
to pen your letter to Santa Claus.
Send my letter.
And what do you want for the Buffalo Bills for Christmas?
What I want for the Buffalo Bills. So this is a very simple start to this. Please, Santa, don't let Leslie Frazier, defensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, become a head coach anywhere. He's done such wonderful things in Buffalo, and I'd be remiss to say I'd be sad to see him go. Brian Dable can go wherever he wants. Also, can you please get Steven Hauschka back to old Hausch money ways, where he didn't miss a damn thing that he kicked, and stop this errant kicking every couple games, because I'm having heart palpitations and I can't watch anymore. Additionally, Santa, last thing to give me for my Christmas holiday is to never let Sean McDermott get fired. This dude is the second coming of Jesus to all Buffalo fans, and we don't want to see him leave either. Last, please get me a ticket to see Devin Singletary at Hall of Frames, because that is my homie. I love him. And if any of you listening out there want to gift me that, totally fine with it. So please, I will give my address off air.
But you would like for that not to be on was it January 20th?
No, yeah, it was the
You'd like that to be
21st,
like
I believe, yeah.
sometime in February. So
Exactly, because I believe, Masood, you said it, right? Because first you told me Devin Singletary is going to be there, and these two know very well. I don't shut up about him. Like, I love the guy. It's unhealthy, actually. Like, very unhealthy type of love for another human being. And especially another male human being on top of that. But you said it's, I think it was January 21st, but it was like in small print.
It says it on the small yeah.
print.
Subject to change
based on playoff schedule.
Oh, did it say that?
Yes, yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
Oh, I thought it was you. It must have
No,
been.
it was me.
It must
I
have been
saw it.
Moss. All right, so it was Moss then. It said subject to change, date and time subject to change based on playoff schedule. So if they're still rolling, they're pushing it back to like February.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I'm sure you'd be completely fine with that.
Totally fine to hang on to that ticket for an extra month. All right.
I'm sure all
Totally fine,
Buffalo
yeah.
Bills fans would be like, "No, I want him to come now." No.
You know, and I like that you referenced the second coming of Christ at the holiday
At the
season.
holiday season.
I will say I loved the tone of your voice that you were using towards
Wasn't
Santa.
it? Dear Santa.
Yeah.
Dear Santa.
Dear Santa. See, you gotta change the
I don't know.
tone.
I've never done this before.
Well, that's true. But last time I did it, I was 10, so the voice was much higher, and to get this like nice baritone baritone, this pleasing baritone, is
Dear
very difficult
Santa.
to do when you're 10.
Should I have talked like that? Dear Santa,
That would have worked, actually.
Yeah.
can you please bring Ben Roethlisberger back to the Pittsburgh
Yes.
Steelers?
And if you can drop a lisp in there, you'd be even better.
You know what was great? When I first found out that Erica was Jewish, you know what I got her as a Christmas present? Or as a Hanukkah
As a
present?
As
Hanukkah
a
present.
A Christmas tree.
True story.
That's beautiful.
I mailed it to her.
That's great.
So let's see. Ray chimed in and he said, "Dear Santa,
Yes.
Dear Santa.
Dear Santa.
number one, draft a franchise quarterback,
Yes, yes.
and number two, please don't let it be Tua."
It must be Raymond Pardee, who is a Miami Dolphin fan and does not have a lot of faith in Tua.
No.
Tagovailoa. Yes, I
Hey,
do.
but count your blessings. You have an incredible punter.
Can I ask for another
Phenomenal.
Christmas
Yeah,
present?
phenomenal punter, he said in the first week.
Yes.
Can I ask for one more Christmas present?
Okay.
Yes.
And that is tomorrow. This is for my other team. Tomorrow, can we please Santa, will you please have Emmett Smith's son sign to the Florida Gators?
There you
Commit
go.
to the Florida Gators tomorrow, because that happens tomorrow.
He's going to use
Well,
his
please.
mind control.
Yes.
Please.
An Emmett Smith kid.
So, Santa, it sounds like you got your work cut out
You
for
do.
you, man. You
Yeah, seriously.
better get cracking. Listen, I said we were going to do it, and we're going to do it.
Yep.
Time to give us your Super Bowl predictions. This is way early. We're way early, obviously. We're like a month early. But listen, I want your Super Bowl predictions, and I'm gonna ask you to go full Nostradamus here. And I want you to also just give me your MVP if you have to. You already both said it's gonna be Baltimore and New Orleans.
Yes.
Who's gonna win that game?
I'm sure Jamie and I are probably going to say the same answer.
Are you?
Probably.
Are
Yep.
you? Are
Yep.
you? Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. On the count of
This-
three, go both give it. All right. Ready?
right.
1, 2, 3.
New Orleans.
Yeah, there it is.
This is going to be like a historic moment for one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And I said this last night as we were watching the game. I said, I don't know why. I can sit there and I can watch Drew Brees and I can see him succeed and I can see him break records. And I don't have hatred like I do for that other person that plays for a team. And he's got a little thing
butt
right
chin.
here.
He's got the giant butt chin.
I can't even say his name. But I don't. I really do. I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's been an incredible quarterback over the years, and I think that if they can get to the Super Bowl, this is going to be that moment for him to shine even more than he has, and he win that MVP award, and maybe he'll go out just like that.
You think he's going to retire with
I
that?
think that if he wins and gets Super Bowl MVP, he might have to just say, hey, you know what? This has been a great run.
So maybe they don't want him to win.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I
wait a
mean,
minute, we still need.
I think he could play more, but it just seems like that would be a great moment.
Yeah, it would be a great way to retire. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
to go out on absolute top.
Top.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, what do you think?
Drew Brees is the MVP, and greatly enough, this is what I was alluding to. That's kind of my sneaking suspicion I have about Drew Brees. I have a feeling he wins it and calls it. It calls it a career.
Really?
And not to say that he can't play, because honestly, if they don't win this game or get to it, he's coming back.
Oh, yeah,
man. He's
absolutely.
not going anywhere.
Right.
But I also agree with you on this whole. I can watch Drew Brees be incredible, and it doesn't pain me to
Yeah,
say or
exactly.
watch. It's nice to see him breaking records all over the place. To be honest with you,
Especially, TB's records.
that's true too. But he's an undersized quarterback that nobody gave really much of a shot to in the early stage of his career, and he's proved everybody wrong and had a long, sustainable career. And I still personally say that he's currently the best quarterback now. Statistically speaking, he is. There's proof. So, and additionally, when you're talking about the other one, I know why you hate him. It's very easy because they
The other
cheat
one.
so freaking often. And yes, he is the one with the butt chin. By the way, if you have a butt chin, don't make your chin strap look like an adult diaper. I mean, you see, he's got 2 holes right there for legs. It's just not a good look, man. But going back to Drew Brees, that's why you got to love the guy so much. He doesn't cause controversy anywhere he goes. When there was issues in New Orleans in the past with flooding and whatnot like that, he's always there to help. He was there to help the fans of the city as well. He's had a very nice, long 19-year career, and he deserves to go out on top.
Yeah.
So if it's not this year, then I hope for just as much success next year. As long as they're not playing Buffalo, I'm always going to root for them to keep going.
Yeah. And Ray chiming in one final time. He said his pick is the Chiefs versus the Saints. Saints win. Breeze MVP.
There you go. See, at least we can agree with you there. And I can't honestly, Ray, disagree with you too much on the Chiefs. I could see them making it too. But then again, there's not much I feel sold on any of, I'll say 12, but I think 11 of the 12 teams. I think all 11 out of the 12, I think maybe 10 actually have legit shots to make some noise.
Yeah.
So
Listen, before we call it a show here, I do have to remind anybody who's listening, and I'm only putting this out there because we get a lot of listeners from the Utica area, central New York. We have that big show coming up here in just literally 1 week. And
week from Friday.
It's going to be quite the thing, man. I mean, 9-ball, Autumn Fire, Brass Knuckle Intercourse, which is Z's band over there. I think Z left. He didn't leave. But Dark Passenger, Enemy Down, and Falling from One. If anybody's out there listening and is a fan of local music, I got to tell you, that is a lineup. We've said it before. I'm going to say it again. The tagline we're putting on that is one last time. And the reason is because you're not going to see probably the majority of those bands playing again.
It's very likely to be any of those bands, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, the only band out of all of them that is still kind of playing at all is Falling from One.
Yeah.
And even them with their schedules and everything going on in their lives, they're very, very busy.
Oh, yeah.
They're not playing out a ton. So to get those guys all in one spot, playing in one night, doing their thing, just going to be an incredible night.
And all the proceeds are going to our local Humane Society, the Stephen Swan Humane Society. So definitely going to be a great night. Yeah. Come out and support not only these bands, but our animals.
Yeah.
The little puppies.
We've, over the past 12 years, we've raised about $75,000. I think I totally don't know the exact total, but I think that's what we figured it out to be, about $75,000. So, this is going to be just a very nice way to kind of cap it off. And who knows where we're going with that. We got a couple new shows we're going to announce on that night, different things. But, if you can, make it out to this one.
It's a great way, and right after Christmas, you don't have, you're in town, you're with the family, you want to get out, but it's before New Year's, so, just have a nice night out.
Yep, and that takes place at starting at 8 o'clock. Doors open at 7:30.
Yep. Show starts at 8 on the dot, so get there early.
Show starts at 8 o'clock. That's 12 North Sports Bar in Marcy, New York. And it's on Mulvaney Road. Am I saying that right?
Mullaney. Yeah.
Mullaney Road.
Yeah.
If you look on Facebook and you look up Animals Endgame is the name we're calling that because I'm such a freaking nerd. I'm a total Marvel nerd, and so I had to somehow tie that all in. But
yes, if you like Marvel movies, you'll like this show because there's going to be a lot of little things going on that will totally bring the whole Marvel universe together, right?
Yeah,
Is that good?
Yeah,
if you like me, you like that?
Absolutely, yeah. We're tying it all in.
Yep.
So you get a little dose of nerdum, and then you get your music fill, and you can drink, and you have
all for a good cause.
All for a good cause. So
exactly.
On that, let's wrap it up, guys. 2 weeks. Yep. I will see both of you back here. Until then, man, it's going to be a wild ride.
We won't see. You won't hear from us till the playoffs at this point.
That's right.
January 7th.
Yeah, because
7th.
We'll actually be around deep in the playoffs when we come back.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's nuts when you think about it. Yeah, because it's right after New Year's Day. That weekend is the first round. So
it's all right.
We'll see if we're actually anywhere near accurate right off.
We hope both of our teams are still playing at that point.
Yeah, mine too. So, but I figured we'd take that break off because there was, in addition to no one wanting to listen to the show, nobody wants to come in and do the show.
Exactly.
So,
not on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve.
No. So we'll call it for that. So yeah, everybody out there, thanks for listening. I just want to put it out there now. I wish you all a very happy holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa,
Happy New Year. Happy
New Year,
yeah.
All that good stuff. Stay safe. Don't do anything we wouldn't do, right?
Exactly.
That's right. Enjoy the games. And for Jamie, for Erica, for Ray.
Yeah.
Even though he's not here.
And Ray. And
Party. Yeah.
Yep. And, of course, Megan and Mike Zigarelli, who join us every now and then. We'll say thank you. Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays. We'll check back in with you on January 7th.
Yes.
All right? Enjoy the games. Talk to you soon. See yous.
Later.
We out.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving. relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Hey, Disruption Network. This is Mike Sacco, the general manager at Nye Volkswagen of Rome. If you don't know me by name, it's only because you have not received the best deal. There's only one reason to leave Utica, and that's to come see me in Rome and get the best deal on your next new, pre-owned, or certified VW. Mention that you heard this ad from Disruption Network and receive $250 off your next vehicle purchase. You'll know why our customers say, I love my Nye VW. Come see us at 5865 Rome Taberg Road in Rome, or visit us online at nyvwofrome.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar, brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.